What's up guys, James here from BootWizard Boot Reviews, and today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Puma Ultra line. So this is a boot that is going to be released in the future. We are anticipating around Euro 2020 time, and it is what is going to kill the Puma 1. So there's going to be no more Puma 1 once this brand new Puma Ultra drops. So this has been rumored and there's been rumblings of this going to happen for quite some time, and then recently Puma held their annual meeting to announce their takings, their earnings for the full financial year of 2019 in Germany. And at that meeting, sat up on a pretty little display was the brand new Puma Ultra. So we've actually got a good first look at this Puma Ultra. We roughly know what it's going to be like, we know what it's going to be made out of, and we also know how much it's going to weigh. So we're going to go through all those details today. We're going to see if we think it's going to be an improvement over what we currently have in the Puma 1, and does it signal a shift in direction for Puma? Are they going a different way with their boot lineup? I also just want to say happy birthday to a friend of mine, the guy who gave me this shirt. If you can guess what the club is, do put it down in the comments. But happy birthday, Vitor. I hope you had a good one. So starting with the looks, I think this is a good looking boot. We've got a good look at the orange launch colorway, and we've also had a look at the blackout colorway. Both I think look fantastic. I think it's very interesting and maybe very telling that Puma have gone for a low cut construction here. So this has a V in the low cut, maybe a little Nemesis-esque, and that is maybe a sign of an industry trend where we're moving away from a mid-cut collar, which Nike seem to be doing as well. They have far less mid-cut boots. Maybe because it is a Puma boot, I'm definitely picking up some Evo Speed vibes, and I'm really loving that external heel counter. All laced up on Instagram, and we were having a conversation about this, and he said he was picking up some Vapor 12 Superfly Ultra type vibes, which I can totally see, especially across that top area where there seems to be a little additional lip around the low cut collar. Well, low cut opening. It's not a collar at all, is it? We've also had a decent look at these on feet because Celtic player Jerome Frimpong has been wearing them in training in the blackout colorway, and because of the different angles you can get there, we can definitely say that this still retains a one-piece upper, and it definitely is going to. We know that because we've actually got some specific information about these boots. The way we know it's not going to be a leather upper is because we do have the information from Puma that this is going to be, pardon my pronunciation, this could be completely wrong, it's a Marta X Evo upper material. And what that is at least woven, potentially knitted, and it's Kevlar and carbon yarns that have been knitted together. Now, if you ask me, while it doesn't necessarily look like it in the pictures, this does speak a little bit to me of Vapor 13 vibes. They have the high tenacity and the regular Flyknit yarns, which they blend together. The high tenacity yarns meaning that they've got a very thin, very responsive boot with adding lots of layers, without adding lots of layers of bulk. Could this material from Puma be doing exactly that, taking a Kevlar yarn and a carbon yarn and blending them together to get softness and stability across the boot? That, as a concept, is super exciting. And then on top of that, they've also announced that this is going to have the Grip Control Pro element. And now this is what we get on the Puma Future. So this element here, kind of the darker area away from the yellow, is the Grip Control Pro. And if they put this exact same grip control coating onto the new Puma Ultra, I will be super happy because this is really grippy, it's really nice, and it works really well with the Future, so I don't see any reason why it wouldn't also be fantastic on the Puma Ultra, especially if there's a little bit of texture in that upper from the two types of material being blended together. That concept, I think, is fantastic and really excites me. Something else we already know about this boot and is already being widely reported is that it's going to weigh 175 grams. Now, if you take the information I just gave you about the similarities to the Vapor, you take the fact it's 175 grams, it definitely seems like this new Puma Ultra is going to be a speed boot silo. Puma don't really have great definition in what their boots are supposed to be. The Puma 5.1 especially has been very heavily marketed as an agility boot, which is kind of another name for speed, but it's clearly not a speed boot. And then the Puma 1 has gone between, I've seen people refer to it as a speed boot, I think myself included, and is it also a power boot? It's not really. So they don't really define their boots that well, and while that doesn't matter a huge amount in terms of performance, in terms of characteristics and getting people to know what they're buying, it can be quite important. So having the Puma Ultra as a dedicated and clear speed boot silo could be a really good thing for Puma. It's going to weigh 175 grams, and I think that's a nice little return for Puma to a brand that used to be the ones that excelled at delivering the lightest possible boots on the market. The EvoSpeed 1.4 SL clocking in at about 103 grams, which is crazy. Now, admittedly, they didn't last very long, and this will be far more durable, but having that lightweight option is pretty fantastic. And at 175 grams, this will make the Puma Ultra the lightest weight general release boot available. So a regular factory production available all the time boot, 175 grams would be the lightest one on the market, which could be pretty exciting as well. Sticking with the idea of this being a speed boot, we also get a brand new sole plate and stud pattern. Praise the Lord! So we have been waiting for a long time for Puma to update their Puma Future and Puma 1 sole plates. They have been running across a silly number of releases. So the Puma Future 2.1, the 18.1, they're all on the same sole plate and stud pattern. So getting a brand new one is great, and this is going to be the speed unit sole plate and stud pattern. So not only is it great we've got an update, from what we can work out and what we can see from these pictures, it looks like definitely like bladed studs. It seems like it's going to be very aggressive. I did note though that the heel area, there's something about the shape, the thickness, and the way the studs are positioned that reminded me of the concave Halo Plus that I have a review of up. So that's an interesting and unexpected little reference I made just from one picture. I could be very wrong, of course. But a brand new sole plate and stud pattern, it looks definitely like there's a lot of bladed studs in there. It looks like it's going to be very aggressive, and Puma have good history with sole plates and stud patterns. So again, excited. So just a couple more details that I have picked out that I think are super interesting. One, possibly one of the most interesting or innovative things about this boot appears to be the lacing setup. There are no holes where the laces go through the upper of the boot. It looks like those Kevlar and carbon fibers have kind of been pulled out of the boot and form a loop that has been stitched to secure it onto the side of the boot, and then the laces loop through those loops that are on the boot, which is a very innovative and interesting way of doing things by not putting the laces directly through the boot. How that actually translates into giving you good lockdown and good responsiveness, and whether that causes any problems with maybe pressure points or pulling up on parts of the boot is yet to be seen. But it's interesting that they have not gone with lace holes, and there's actual lace loops that seem to be made out of sections of the upper. Again, maybe slightly similar to what we're seeing from the NetFit system on the Puma Future, and this works just perfectly. And you may also be wondering how we know this is called the Puma Ultra. Well, it's written on the back of the boot. The branding on the boot as a whole is fairly minimal. Even the Puma logo is quite small and maybe in a slightly odd position, but we'll see. But then the Ultra on the back, so that's how we know it's the Puma Ultra. And I have to criticize, I don't think that Ultra is a particularly good name for the boot. Basically for two reasons. One, the Nike Flyknit Ultra, and two, the Adidas Ultra Boost. I think you're putting yourself in for confusion. There's another speed boot out there that your boot, somebody has already been like, oh, that looks a bit like that boot. So you already have that comparison, and they both share an Ultra name from two different brands. Maybe not the best idea. And then one of Adidas's flagship products that is really popular is the Ultra Boost. And do you really want to be causing any kind of confusion between the Ultra Boost and your brand new Ultra football boot? Probably not. And even if that's not going to happen, I imagine there's too many searches for Ultra football boots or Ultra that are going to go awry, and Puma don't want that to happen. They want to focus their attention on their product. So I feel like they could have gone a different way other than Ultra, although it's probably quite a cool name for a speed boot. So that is a first look at the Puma Ultra. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments. Personally, I'm pretty excited. I can't wait for this to come out around Euro 2020, and I think it's going to be a really exciting boot, whether it's good or bad. Do remember to get subscribed so you can pick up all my other boot reviews, playtests, and unboxings. And if you did like this video, do hit that like button if you want to see more stuff like this. That shows me that you want this, and then I can make more. But that's all from BootWizard here today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Have a good one, and I'll see you soon.